Dear friends, dear colleagues, I understand full well that we're all tired. I understand that you're all thinking into lunches, but a wise man, somebody sometimes said that all public speeches should have an intriguing beginning and a logic conclusion. And these two elements should be as close together as possible to keep it short. So I'll try to follow this very good piece of advice. First of all, let me welcome all the delegates. I would like to thank most warmly Professor Falico. I'm certainly not going to be the last to say so, and I haven't been the first, but it is thanks to Professor Falico that over the past 4 years, this Verona Forum has become a true meeting point, a very international point where to exchange ideas. And it is here that important problems are touched and important decisions are made. Well, I cannot compete with my predecessors to show that I know in greater detail the issues, because so far we've been listening to top experts. Having said as much, I would like to confine myself to my professional knowledge, referring to certain aspects of the relationship between Russia and Italy in our common life. So despite the difficult geopolitical situation, the relationship between Russia and Italy are still stable and are based on a sound basis. We have no intention whatsoever to build a wall between Russia and Italy. As a matter of fact, we are doing our best to further develop our relationship, as it is confirmed by the intense dialogue by our leaders over the last 18 years. The President of the Russian Federation and the President and Italian Prime Minister Renzi have been meeting over and over again and are constantly talking as well. Foreign Minister, Italian Foreign Minister has been one of the few to come to Moscow to witness the celebration devoted to the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Second World War. And with our colleagues in Italy, we are organizing at this point in time a new meeting, 2+2, between our mutual defense minister and foreign minister. An interparliamentary committee met in Milan last week. An important delegation of the Moscow government, led by the mayor of Moscow, visited the expo. The situation is not as rosy from the economic and trade point of view, as Italy ranks fourth and amongst the trade partners of Russia. But up until 2013, the turnover or the trade balance was on the increase, scoring $154 million. Last year, this dwindled to 44, and this year it further declined. Export from Russia were reduced by 30%, and Italian export to Russia were reduced by some 40%. These are the figures of the Russian customs that might differ from the Italian statistics. Anyway, the main causes for this decline in trade is given by the decline in oil prices and other energy sources. This lies at the basis or the reduction by 3/4 of exports from Italy to Russia. The ruble has been devaluated, and that obviously made it more difficult for Russians to buy services and goods from the Eurozone. Equipment, for example, the export of equipment towards Russia that account for some have 50% of the exports from Italy to Russia were reduced, and this negative trend is on the increase. So there's another cause for this worsening of the situation, and those are the sanctions adopted by the WTO against Russia. These sanctions, as has been universally recognized, have no ties whatsoever with what is happening in Ukraine. I'd like to voice my point of view, if I may, stating that at this difficult point in time in our relationship, in the relationship between Russia and the West, for both Russia and Italy should make an effort not to waste what we've achieved so far. All the political crises sooner or later find a solution. And this is only going to happen also for the Ukraine case. Based on that, sanctions were adopted against Russia. So all crises come and go, but the national interests remain unchanged. And I firmly believe that greater cooperation goes to the mutual benefit of us both. Now, with reference to the difficulties and the problems, i.e. volatility of the markets, the devaluation of the ruble, well, given the difficult situation that we're going through at the time, we not only have to take note of the situation, but we have to find and look for a solution. I'm not talking about the sanctions because obviously that would take a political decision that obviously is going to be the more obvious solution, but there is another option. Now, using Italian words, I think that we should be fully committed to develop a new model for interaction, i.e. Transforming Made in Italy into Made with Italy, which implies the delocation of the Italian companies in our country. On the backdrop of the devaluation of the ruble, I believe that it would be advantageous also for Italian businessmen, much more so than they were in the past. Let me remind you a couple of cases. In Nizhny Novgorod, for example, last year, Daniele Volga was incorporated. Daniele invested 44 million euro in Kaluga region. Another plant opened. The Menarini pharmaceutical company invested over 50 million euro, and the Cremonini Group built a plant for the processing of beef, investing decades of millions of dollars. And a car component factory was inaugurated last year with an overall investment of $11 million. And the conditions are pretty attractive, even in Moscow. This has been the subject matter of the discussion with the mayor of Moscow in Italy, and I believe that the governor of Sverdlovsk region also talked about that, and I'm sure that we're going to hear more about that. New possibilities are to be found in the import substitution strategy. Well, this strategy, this program is aimed at increasing the production of certain categories of goods. In this case as well, we hope to establish a fruitful cooperation with the state-of-the-art Italian companies. President Prodi, Madam Valovaya highlighted that before me. I, for myself, will repeat that we should complete the negotiation on the partnership, the transatlantic. Chair referred to such agreements. Such agreements want to rewrite our economic rules and basically are the response of US vis-a-vis China. Well, I'd like to draw your attention on this subject, not because Russia felt offended by that, as it wasn't invited to be part of it. But I believe that over the past few years, ever since this negotiation has been underway, negotiations has been carried out behind closed doors in total secrecy. Nobody has ever seen the draft of this document. We have to wait for it being ratified or for it being presented for ratification to the national governments. The transatlantic trade partnership was also referred to, and that obviously has plays a role also for Europe and Italy. I have my own personal opinion, and it might not be correct, but I believe that the policy of regional agreements might lead to new divisions being created in Europe. I believe that the problems that we have to come to terms with might be greater rather than smaller. And I believe that we should devote our attention to these problems at subsequent